this is all fuel from a need essentially for this new generation to have an IP that, is not really understood, doesn't have to make sense. And I think that's what's really hard sometimes to understand from those brain rots, is the fact that there's not really a point to it, is there?
I mean, it's almost like really leaning into the concept of people talking about AI slop. It's just like, well, hold my beer. Here's some AI slop for you.
I mean, is it IP or is it just a meme? I feel like
Skibbity
toilet.
Memes are awesome. Give me
I mean,
the respect
hey,
in reverse.
no disrespect to the meme. I'm just saying, like, is it something that you can expand and build and, make sequels of and, like, go deep into lore?
Welcome back to Brands and Play. I'm Alban Priou, Insights and Partnership Director at Geek.
And I'm Nick Hill, co-founder and chief innovation officer at Sawhorse.
And this week on the show, we have Bob Ross making it onto Fortnite, Travis Kelce plays Roblox, Fortnite maps that are selling for millions, and Meta new wristband controller.
Then I went to Comic-Con and checked out Supercell's Star Island immersive marketing activation. And we're excited for our guest this week, the Kids Media Club podcast. We unpack Italian brain rot and the future of IP on UGC platforms. That's right, it's a podcast crossover.
Yeah, we're really pumped about this one. So remember to subscribe and drop a comment with the hashtag Brands and Play. Okay, let's tuck in.
Let's go.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Yo, Alban, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. What's been new for you this week?
Yeah, I had a really big week. Lots of stuff happening so far. But last night, we hosted an event for the TV Academy. That's the group that's in charge of the Emmys. And it was a private event where we invited Academy members that were in the emerging media category. And we hosted an event. We did a panel talking about how the entertainment industry is leveraging Roblox to do a ton of activations for movies. So we had people from Universal and Roblox, and it was just a fantastic night. So it was a lot of fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I saw that Todd from Roblox was there, so I'm really gutted. Are you guys gonna publish what you guys talked about on LinkedIn?
No, you had to be there. This one
Okay.
is
What a
just closed to
shame.
Academy members, so it was very
What a
exclusive.
shame.
So this
Well,
one,
that sounds really
unfortunately,
exciting. So the first piece that I have is the one and only Bob Ross on Fortnite. So this is done by I guess their management company instead of being a partnership directly with Fortnite. So they created a island for Bob Ross where you have to create several paintings. So I thought it was quite interesting to have a new type of mechanics.
we should
Um,
also note that who Bob Ross is.
yeah,
I
fair
think there's
enough.
a lot of
Okay.
young listeners that might not know who this guy is.
Okay.
This is
I
like
mean,
big in the
I
80s and the 90s, right?
yeah, exactly. I don't know if you because I guess he is an American TV
Painter.
host and painter. And I would say like now most known within I guess the gaming and Discord culture as a meme. I think like his show has become so iconic that it is now part of meme culture.
This is like awesome. When I saw this, I was like actually pretty surprised. It's performing really well. I think they've got over like 10,000 CCU, which
Yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
really big for Fortnite. And yeah, I mean, it just goes to show that like anything is possible. You take an IP that's super old and, not that relevant. Yeah, it is a meme, but now it's performing well on the
Yeah,
platform and tons of people are engaging with it.
exactly.
It's I love to see it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's what we always say is like you have to make it fun, and I think they just made something like really cool out of this.
Next, staying on the topic of Fortnite, I don't know if you saw this, but there was a Fortnite map that just sold to a traditional video game publisher for millions of dollars. Did you see
Hmm.
this?
I saw the article.
Yeah,
Pretty
so it's
impressive, I
pretty
would say.
awesome. It's the game The Pit. It's a custom Fortnite map created by Gearsy. It was one of the top maps. It had peak CCU of over 140,000 players. And it's a map that a lot of players come to grind and earn XP, and that
Mhm.
XP feeds into the ongoing battle pass progression system. So it's just a map that works, that people really like, that is persistent and continue to perform well. So the traditional game publisher, Gaijin Entertainment, they are the owners and creators of the War Thunder game that has had made major impact in the gaming space in general. But so they decided to buy this map and own it. They're going to keep the creator on to continue to build it out over time. But I thought this was just so interesting because I haven't really seen this before. I haven't seen like traditional gaming publishers, scouring through UGC gaming platforms, identifying games that are popular that have high CCU, and then acquiring them and trying to grow and build. This is maybe the first time I've seen this. Have you
Yeah.
seen this before?
No, you're right. Because I was thinking about like the Voldex of this world, but I guess they are more. They just an acquisite like they are a company that acquire games, and I think you're right where it's a different types of models, so it is quite interesting.
Yeah, and I think that, this is interesting because we know that the AAA video game industry is a bit in turmoil right now.
Yeah.
We know that UGC platforms are getting tons of engagement, tons of massive numbers. Look at how to grow your garden, and at this point, I think that all business models are on the table, for exploration,
Yeah.
and so I think we're going to see more of this stuff. It's exciting. Very curious to see if this game will continue to perform and grow or if it's
Mhm.
gonna decline.
Yeah.
What is the outcome? But I don't know, maybe it's a business model that we're gonna see more of.
Yeah, I agree. I think always the risk when you have it's because they can't really take the approach. If they take the approach of a AAA game and try to apply it to a UGC virtual experience, then I think there is a bit of a risk here. But the fact that they've taken on board the creator and want him to like continue to develop the map, I think shows us that they know where they stand, and it's more about a strategic acquisition as opposed and learning essentially from this to be able to maybe at some point release their own map later down the line. But I think that was like quite a smart move for them to still maintain the initial creator at least for a specific amount of time to make sure that they don't lose the audience. Um, on to the next story, we have Travis Kelce surprising Roblox fan on Grow a Garden, as if the game couldn't get more publicity and notoriety. I mean, to be fair, not much to say on that. I just thought it was really odd in a way to have him on Roblox first and foremost, and then
Definitely
on
odd.
Grow Garden as well. Because I would have thought, I don't know, he would have gone, yeah, anything
I
else
mean,
like
at this point, it's
the
not so much about
MSL1 or
not so much about relevancy, in my opinion. It's just about bigness. So it's like
correct.
this is the biggest game in the world. So it's like, who's one of the biggest celebrities in the world? Travis Kelce. Let's just put him in Grow a Garden and like watch it explode. And it feels like
Correct,
that's what
and
happened.
I obviously I don't have the detail of the partnership. I don't know. I feel like on both sides they have a win in there as opposed to just a pure like payment transaction of a really big influencer.
It felt cool. I just visually, it was interesting. They
It
they
was,
pulled it
yes.
off. They did it. It was kind of a surprise. I thought that was cool. But I will say, like, from an art aesthetic standpoint, it's so simple.
It
It's
is.
not that impressive. No
No, no, no.
disrespect, but it's it's very simple looking, and I think it's just a message that brand teams should take note of. You don't need to show up with this ultra high fidelity
No,
experience, and you can really lean into the simplicity and sort of like how bulky and just simple the art is on the platform and
I
still
agree.
see a ton of success and really be accepted by the community even better.
Yeah.
So I thought that's worth noting.
Mm-mm. And even for I think to continue to remember that it's not because you have a successful game that you have to stop amplifications or marketing around that content. So I thought that was quite interesting as well, just because on top of that they also had a lot of influencers, really big influencers like Lana that were on there to be able to promote the activation. So they had a full campaign around this. So it'll be interesting to see how this campaign is going to affect longer term the daily active users, and whether it's going to allow maybe Roblox to acquire new kind of users because they might there might be people from Roblox that never heard about the platform or didn't know that there was this specific game that they could play or meet Travis in there. So I think that's quite interesting again.
That's a great
Um,
point. I definitely do see some, users picking this up for the first time. They
yeah,
know Travis Kelce, maybe they heard of
exactly.
Roblox. They pick it up, they
Maybe
download
like
it, they're playing Grow a Garden within like 10, 20 seconds,
exactly.
and they're having fun. And now they now are Robloxian in some way. So
Exactly. It's a
that's
little
really
bit like
smart for
the
growth.
what happened with Dress to Impress, where it just acquired new type of users. So really interesting to see.
Nice.
What's on next?
So the last story from my side is coming from Meta's Reality Lab. They have this new research that they released. It's called SEMG, and it's got published in Nature magazine, so it's kind of a big deal. A lot of people are taking notice, and essentially, it's a new wristband to control computers and devices. And so
Oh,
it's a big step forward in spatial computing. This SEMG technology, it measures movements around your wrist, like micro movements. So we know that like the way that a lot of spatial computing works right now is through cameras. So
yeah.
cameras are filming our hands and they're tracking what our hands do in order to like create those signals that go into the computer. This is literally like micro movements in your wrist that it's picking up on and then, translating into the computer. So these neural signals, they're starting in your brain and they're traveling down to your wrist. And what it does is this device on your wrist, it basically intercepts those and it leverages AI to kind of like understand it. It's essentially like reading your mind. So just by doing very basic movements and very subtle movements with your hands, you can be controlling computers. And I think this is really exciting because this really is a more intuitive way to work on computers. You think about it like typing on a keyboard and using a mouse. These are like not super intuitive things. You want to get to a point where you can just think it and see it and it's floating in space. You want to move the screen over here. So really if you're using augmented reality in combination with one of these wrist things, it's really the future. It's like you can just start using a computer at any place at any time uh, on the go as large as you want, as comfortable as you want to.
Because
So
so we're not talking about the headset, right? Like this is new
this is
technology that's
just a
more
wrist. It's a
compatible.
wristband you wear, and it
Okay,
sends a signal to a
to your
device.
computer
Exactly, to
on the
like your
computer.
phone or a computer, and
Okay.
it's like it's the mouse and it's the keyboard.
Okay,
You're
gotcha.
just
It's a bit
controlling it
like
all with your wrists and your minor movements with your hands.
do you remember have you seen this Tom Cruise film Minority Reports? Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a trippy movie.
We're getting to that stage. It's just like just.
That's what you want. I mean, I swear, every time I pull my phone out, I'm like, "Oh, this is so annoying, this tiny little thing," and I have to, like, use my little hands and, like, do it. Like, I can't wait until we get to that point where it's just, "Give me the space. I see a screen, I do what I want with it, and I'm moving on."
Mhm. No, I mean, that's really exciting. Have they mentioned when they're planning on having this released to the
No, they
public
didn't say
or
when, but I think,
okay.
it's being studied. It's also cool because they're open sourcing it, I think, and they're sharing it with tons of other developers and stuff.
Nice,
So it's
okay.
technology that's gonna go out, and I from a hardware standpoint, we know Meta crushes hardware, so I think that they're gonna do a great job, rolling it out.
Yeah,
But, yeah,
super
we'll
exciting
stay
to
on
see.
top of it, and we'll report more.
Absolutely.
But now it's time for us to jump to our real-time review. This week, I was super excited because I got to go to the San Diego Comic-Con to check out this immersive activation for the game Brawl Stars. Have you played that game?
I have actually, I wanna say like 3 years ago, 'cause
Years.
I had a
Yeah,
huge spike back then, and I don't think I've played since then, but 3 years ago,
same with
I
me.
remember there
I
was like a
discovered it
real
back then. Yeah,
up
but
and
it's
coming game.
yeah, so it's still there, it's still growing, and so let's check out my review.
Looking forward to it. Let's do it.
One of my favorite events of the year, the San Diego Comic-Con, just happened last week. I've been coming here since I was 11 years old. There's always so much to see and do, but for this real-time review, I'm gonna be checking out Supercell's immersive marketing experience, Star Park. This is the first US activation for Supercell's hit mobile game, Brawl Stars. It's one of the most popular mobile games out there, with millions of active players and over 400 million downloads. I played it on my phone years ago, and it just continues to grow. So, the Star Park was a pop-up amusement park floating on a massive barge on the bay right behind the Comic-Con. The Star Park is actually the main environment in the video game, and it's being brought to life here. It was open to the public, but apparently the free tickets sold out in just 5 minutes. So, without further ado, let me take you through the experience and give you my thoughts. First, Small groups of fans were taken down the dock and loaded into the Star Rail for a wild ride through the Star Park.
Come on in, folks. I hope she didn't bore you too much. Welcome to the Star Rail.
The Star Rail was created by the experiential innovation lab Future Colossal.
Howdy, folks.
All the windows inside the car had LED screens synced together, so it was creating the illusion of movement. The ride starts as a calm monorail tour, but quickly spirals out of control. Fans are asked to interact with the buttons and pull the handbrake to stop the train car. And the tour guide was great too. She narrated the wild adventure and guided us right into the park. Then the doors opened and we all walked out into the Star Park, where we were greeted by the park guides as they explained the rules to us.
I'm the head fun enforcer here at Star Park!
Once inside, there were several classic-style carnival games, all based on the main Brawl Star characters. Then we got the chance to play the minigames and win exclusive Brawl Stars swag. There was ring toss, hammer strength test, spinning wheel, all that stuff. And there's a partnership with MrBeast Feastables. They made exclusive co-branded chocolate bars. 20,000 limited edition Brawl bars were distributed, and inside there's a code that players can redeem for in-game rewards. This immersive marketing experience promotes the game, celebrates fandom, and gives players an immersive experience, helping them to connect more deeply with the IP and game. So as far as pros, this is an immersive experience that plays on almost all of your senses. Sight, it has amazing visuals, totally on brand and fun. Sound, music and sound effects are heard throughout.
Okay, all under control. Now what?
But the actors playing the park staff were awesome, always in character and great improv. Taste, they gave out glitter bomb cupcakes, and the MrBeast chocolates were delicious.
Should I get one of those?
Touch, there's tons of hands-on gameplay and interactivity. Smell, well, there was no smell, but I wish they would have done some smell effects during the Star Rail part. Cons, there were a couple of things that I think could have been better. One being, there was no physical motion that I picked up on inside of the Star Rail. So I was hoping that there was a sort of more bumps, more motion, more haptics. I think it would have been more interactive. Maybe that was a safety thing, not sure. And two, I wish there was more co-play with the mini games where you would interact with all the people around you. It was very like solo play with those mini games, and I feel like that was an opportunity to engage with more people. Was it innovative? I'm not sure there was anything completely new here, but everything came together extremely well. The Star Rail, to me, was the most impressive part, but I genuinely found myself smiling and laughing several times throughout this experience. So in summary, this activation was top-notch. I really enjoyed it, and I want to see more brands doing immersive IRL activations like this one. That's a wrap on this real-time review, and I'll see you next year at the San Diego Comic-Con. And now, back to the show.
Okay, thank you so much, Nick, for giving us this deep dive. Really excited to see. Now, really pumped to have on the show the Kids Media podcast joining us.
Right, and if you aren't familiar, their show covers all things kids media. Topics like animation trends, the rise of ed tech, and the impact of platforms like YouTube and TikTok on kids' content.
Absolutely. So let's go and meet Joe, Andy, and Emily.
Let's go. All right, everybody, we're excited for this week because we have our special crossover episode between Brands in Play and Kids Media Club podcast. I'm Nick Hill. I'm co-founder of Sawhorse and also the Chief Innovation Officer. And for those listening, you might not know everybody on this. So I'm going to throw to Joe to introduce herself, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Nick. Well, exciting. Look at us all hanging out together in our podcast. We're really happy to all hang out and discuss things today. So yes, I'm Joe Redfern, co-host of the Kids Media Club podcast. And within that, we cover everything in kids media, whether it's linear broadcasting, Netflix, Roblox, YouTube, you name it. If it pertains to media that kids consume, then we'll talk about it. And I've brought my two co-hosts along for this hangout. Andy.
Hi, yeah, I'm Andy, and I'm also a co-host of the Kids Media Club podcast. I guess I might look at it from a slightly more of a producer lens, but yeah, we cover the waterfront of kids media, and I'll throw over to Emily.
Yeah, I don't know. Is this like podcasting versus colliding? I mean, would Kevin Feige approve this? I don't know. Yeah, my name's Emily. I'm a co-host of the Kids Media Club podcast, and I come at Kids Media from a YouTube streaming and franchise lens. I'm always looking at how the picture builds there. So, yeah, I'm really excited to be chatting to you guys. Because Jo is our resident Roblox expert, and now her knowledge is going to be put to the test.
Oh, I hesitate to use the words expert when I've got these two people to my right on this screen, Nick and Alban, who both know Roblox infinitely more than I do.
We're
Well, it's
super
an
excited
amazing
to
group
have you.
today.
Yeah,
Yes.
super excited for this.
And Alban, why don't you tell the people about your background?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Alban. I'm the Insights and Partnership Director at Geek and co-host of the Brands and Play podcast.
Amazing. So we're super lucky to have everyone here today. These are a lot of brilliant minds colliding to talk about IP and how it's kind of permeating through UGC gaming culture and kind of the future of what all that means. And I think we want to start talking about Italian brain rot, right?
I mean, well, goodness, Italian brain rot. As if we didn't have enough with Skibbity Toilet last year, or meme-based IP that comes from UGC platforms. And anybody I spoke to at the back end of last year who was kind of under 18, Skibbity Toilet was the thing. It kind of blew off. I think a lot of people thought that it might be a one and done. Something as crazy as that even spawns a Michael Bay movie adaptation. I mean, what? And then, hang on a minute, along comes Italian brain rot and says, "Hold my beer." So here we are. We've got a second wave of meme-based content that gets picked up by users and audiences on these UGC platforms and takes on a life of its own. And so, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what brought us together and what we really wanted to dive into, because these things are so interesting, aren't they? It's, we come from worlds of where IP was very, it was crafted, it was shaped, it was molded and curated and quite tightly controlled. And here we've got these IP that are just growing organically across these platforms. So worthy of discussion.
So for the
So-
chiefs at the back, could somebody please describe Italian brain rot? Because
Yes,
those
please.
two words make sense, but together there's a different meaning that we're talking
Okay,
about
I'm going to
here.
look at Nick for this one.
So Italian brain rot is Gen AI. It's essentially an IP that came out from a kid, a 23-year-old creator from Eastern Europe, who just came up with these crazy ideas and mashed together these characters that were created from scratch, all inspired by Italian culture. I don't know. I think that there's fake Italian narrators and Italian names attached to these characters, but essentially, IP was created from scratch. It was all generated from these models, and then it was put online, and it blew up like crazy. Would that be a fair description?
I think so. And now here we got pop quiz. Who can name some of the Italian brain rot characters?
Cappuccino ballerina.
Cappuccino
Yes.
ballerina. Yes. Tralalero tralala, which is the shark wearing Nikes. Right, the other ones, let's have a think. You've got Tum 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 Sakoon. Soho, sorry.
The ballerina.
Yeah, that's Cappuccino ballerina. You got
Yep.
Bombadillo Crocodilo, which is the crocodile.
Exactly.
I feel like Alban's got a list up on her screen now. She's like,
I mean, there's
Mhm.
the cappuccino one as well. I can't remember, cappuccino ballerina, I think.
Yeah.
There's so many, I think, and it's sorry, my connection went a little bit bad, but I don't know if Nick mentioned, but what's really interesting is that this is all fuel from a need essentially for this new generation to have an IP that is not really understood, and it has to be absorbed and fueled by this absurd, so that it's not really understood by the mass, and it has to be doesn't have to make sense. And I think that's what's really hard sometimes to understand from those brain rots, is the fact that there's not really a point to it, is there?
Yeah, is part of the point of it that a lot of people perceive it as trash. That's part of the fun and the humor of it, is if you're celebrating something that is kind of people look down on. I mean, it's almost like really leaning into the concept of people talking about AI slop. It's just like, well, hold my beer. Here's some AI slop for you.
It's like as
Exactly.
sloppy as possible.
And
And it's
also, it's
curious.
just, I mean, the thing is, right, that internet culture hasn't really changed. It just has eras. And like that idea of massively absurd, surreal, funny for the sake of funny, content has been around for years and years and years. I mean, back in the day, it would have been salad fingers, and then it would have been influencers, and now it's this. Like it's the internet still internets, I guess.
And
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
a generational thing, right? Isn't it? When rock music came along, a whole generation spoke to their kids and were like, "What's this trash that you're listening to?" Skibbity Toilet again last year. I always, think that if a kid's looking at it and if a parent looks over their shoulder and says, "What the heck is that rubbish?" you can more or less guarantee it's going to be appealing to that generation because it's part of development, isn't it? When you're asserting your own identity, you like something that is different from previous generations. And I think that's what Brain Rot and Skibbity Toilet both did with their absurdity.
And as far as like copywriting the IP, that's not really happening here, right? Like it's impossible because it was created from the Gen AI, and so it's no one really owns the rights, right? Like no one
Yep.
can sue you for using it or spinning it off.
Or making money from it, I suppose, is always the key thing when it comes to copyright.
Exactly.
You can play and you can have your fan moment, but once you start making money, then the lawyers tend to come sniffing out.
And but to that money point, you guys can tell us one of the big standards that I use these days on the virality of something or how much the audience takes it and run with it is to look at Roblox because you can spin up much like you could post a TikTok remixing some of your favorite content. Roblox is a really good temperature check on what is popping and what is becoming viral. We've seen it with Squid Game, 400 Squid Game fan-made experiences. Where I've been tracking K-pop Demon Hunters this last few weeks to see how many are popping up around that. You look at Italian Brain Rot, and again, there's pages and pages of fan-made experiences. Not all of them are even active, but it doesn't matter. The fact that someone has spun one up is enough of a barometer to know that it starts to mean something. What have you seen in terms of how Italian Brain Rot has showed up on Roblox?
Now I was just looking at Geek because obviously on our platform we track all of these experiences that you have on Fortnite and on Roblox. So it was really interesting. We've I think we've all heard of Grow Garden recently. That's completely like shoot up the number of visits and attention that Roblox users are addressing to on the platform. And as a second now, which also took over Brookhaven, which used to be the largest game, is now a brain rot experience that's called Still a Brain Rot. And out of this month, they had 1.8 billion visits. So it's really
Wow.
interesting. Yeah, it's really big, really large. And I've done the same like analysis on Epic Games and on Fortnite. And if you remove all of your like the IPs that Epic owns, so everything that's done by Lego or everything that's done by Epic Game themselves, again, it's a one versus one, which is quite normal. This is kind of what people want to do on Fortnite. But the second one is another brain rock. And when we speak about IP, the name is called still the brain rot this time, not a brain rot. But it's the same principle. So I think creators are also looking at each other's platform a bit like what you're doing on Instagram and TikTok and seeing, okay, what works on this platform? Maybe I'll try on that one and see if that works as well. And it's on Fortnite. I was checking the data. It was 21 minutes average session time. So it's a huge amount of volume of time that people
Yeah.
are spending with this IP that no one owns.
And I'm interested, what separates the successful Italian brain rot games from the ones that don't do so well? What is it that's kind of that's attracting people to play on the game?
It's the game design. It's the core
Right.
loop on like how that game is like put together. Because a lot of, to everyone's point, it's like there's been so many of these little game experiences that are leveraging Italian brain rot and popping up on all these platforms. But it will be those games that have the funnest, most stickiest core
Right.
loop that will rise to the top. And to that point, so you have a big one on Roblox that has a ton of concurrent users. You got a big one on Fortnite. The owners of those two games are monetizing, and they're the winners in this right now.
Right. So one of the things that really interests me with with IP like, and I'm not sure whether IP is the right label for Italian brain rot, but with something like Italian brain rot, does it have legs beyond being this in joke, or is it going to be like, I don't know, the Crazy Frog, the one hit wonder that kind of then noped out?
But it keeps going back, Crazy Frog.
It
Does it?
Yes, that was a bad analogy.
I think that the key thing that's changing with meme and developing, I would say, with meme culture is the accessibility to the tech that goes alongside it. So like I said, back in the day, you had Harlem Shake, right? And we all did the Harlem Shake, and then like corporate offices started taking it up and it got very cringe. But like that is indicative of the type of tech that we all had access to at the time. You had your camera on your phone, you could record something, put it on YouTube. But now that like generative AI is there, things like TikTok, CapCut, right? All of the the movie studio we have in all of our pockets is so accessible to everybody. I think that has the potential to take meme life to the next level, and it's probably the reason something like Skibbity Toilet. Skibbity Toilet came on my radar on my way back from Mick Jr. in 2023. I don't know why. I don't know what TikTok was thinking I needed it in my life, because I remember showing it to my young son and him just like thinking it was the most hysterical thing ever. So like Skibbity Toilet's been around for a while, and that's because access to tech that supports the iterafication of it is there and available. So whereas before things would be one and done because there was, there just wasn't the access to drag it out like the internet likes to do.
And it shows what you were just saying is that actually the life cycle of an IP is now contracting, because there are a few IP that have been around 20 years. We've got Peppa Pig, we've got SpongeBob, we've got Bluey that is enduring as a more modern example of that. But actually, you could argue because of that technology that Emily was talking about, an IP matures very quickly now, basically, doesn't it? Skibbity Toilet, arguably, already were the other side of it. You talk to a 15-year-old about Skibbity Toilet and they'll probably roll their eyes and go, "Oh God, that's so done."
So
Um,
old.
it's so old. So really, does that mean that, like Andy said, can we class it as an IP, or are we saying that the definition of an IP needs to change? And can anybody should Netflix even bother trying to create a series around Italian brain rot, or are there things that we just let become their own IP and then die off very quickly?
I like that idea of open source IP. I thought that was a good line, Andy. You might have to steal that one.
Thanks. Yeah, go for it.
I mean, is it IP or is it just a meme? I feel like
Which means just
Skibbity
a
Toilet.
meme. Memes are awesome. Give me
Well, no, I mean,
the respect in
hey,
your words.
no disrespect to the meme. I'm just saying, like, is it something that you can expand and build and, make sequels of and, like, go deep into lore? And I think that Skibbity Toilet is not. I think it, it's something that has, like, made shockwaves around the entire world. My 6-year-old son, who doesn't even know what it is, has come home because he's heard kids say it at school. So he's saying Skibbity around the house. I'm like, do you know what that is? He can't even describe to me what the image is. So there's that,
That was my
And
fault,
so,
Nick, because I said to my 6-year-old, I showed my 6-year-old a video, and then he went into his childcare, and that just, reverberated across the Atlantic, and so I
You're
started
spreading
that.
it.
That was me. Sorry.
yeah.
And I think going back to Italian brain rot, like personally, like I think it's a fad. I don't think it's gonna be anything significant. I think it's made its shockwaves. I think people are gonna continue to make fun stories, and I think it'll be fun and stuff. I just don't see a world where that
We're
becomes
going to revisit this in a
part of our
decade when
culture.
the Oscar goes to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Italian brain rot.
But that's it.
Yes.
I would
And
see the movie.
Michael Bay goes up and collects his Oscar.
I would see the movie if it came out. 100%.
Yeah.
I was saying, let's just close it off with some quick rapid fire questions. We can get a response from everybody. The first one being, how do you know if you're sitting on the next $1 billion IP? Whether that's in UGC or social, or what type of indicator do you think is hot and kind of something that could work?
Oh,
Joe, what do you say?
Wow. There isn't one indicator, but again, fan-made games, pages and pages of experiences on Roblox, YouTube channels, TikTok. I think that's a good indicator. But I also buy the argument that sometimes some things just should be allowed to be and a meme. And
Just be.
maybe we try too hard to make things into IP. But that's certainly one of the signals that I look for when I'm trying to track things.
I don't have, it's not hot, it's really boring, and it's just slow, consistent growth. So there is no, the slow, consistent growth is the best indicator. And, I think that it's not one to be ignored.
I think for me, it would be similar to what Joe just said, is that it's paying attention to the fans, really. And if they really love it, and even if it's just a small group of fans, if there's a real passion there, there's a good chance that will ignite and grow and spread. I always remember I listened to an interview, I think it was with an investor, and he was asked to explain his investment strategy, and he was saying that basically you had to be where the puck was heading, not where it was at the moment. And I think fans are the best indicator of that.
Nice. Well, we have time for one last question for everybody. I want to get a quick response of like, what do we want to see happen in this space by the end of the year? I'll go first. Yeah, by the end of the year. So like a little less than half the year. I want to see an actual IP that started from Roblox come out in traditional media, and I want to react to it. I know I've heard rumors that like one of the big games, Adopt Me, is in production on something. I would love to see it, or some other one. I've yet to see it.
Agree. My bet to that is that a new sports format will be born on Roblox and then will start being played as a league in real life. But that's my bet to that. I'm going to have one. I'm going to say
Ooh.
my kind of play. I really would love creators, native creators on Roblox and video creators and traditional media come closer together, because there's a lot that each can learn from the other. Creators want to learn the art of storytelling. There's a huge number of people in traditional media that would love to pass that on, but vice versa. There's a huge number of people in traditional media that need to learn about community, about evolving stories, that always on that we spoke about. So I'd like to see the two sides come together and collaborate more. Over to you, Emily.
I'm with Nick. That was my one, Nick. I'm very excited to see Roblox IP make the jump to traditional media. And yeah, I can tell that Adopt Me has been gossiped about in the halls of kids media for a few years. So come on, let's see.
Probably won't
definitely
see it
track
by the end
I
of the
want to
year.
track the numbers. Let's do this.
Andy?
Yeah, mine was similar to yours, Joe. Is to see kind of all those two worlds kind of merge a bit more, and for everyone to realize that really they're in the storytelling business, and it's not. There are a lot of shared skill sets.
Amazing. Alban, you
Amazing.
get to sign it off. The final word, make it good, no
Oh,
pressure.
I feel like I can't say that. I fully agree with you. I think my next part is probably how do you get people like more that bottom funnel conversion. I think it's more like how do you get people also to connect, like that transmedia connection. So how do you get people from playing your game here, playing your experience on Roblox, to maybe signing up to Nickelodeon or any other like streaming platform, or potentially going to the cinema. I don't know if they still go, but I think it's that crossover activity to be able to link them. I think that would be quite interesting. I would love to see a bit more of that.
Transmedia for the win. We love that
Exactly.
word at the Kid Podcast.
We'll take more of that. Well, that was awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Big shout out to Kids Media Club and Brands in Play. Finally, we made this happen. Thank you, guys.
We'll
Thank
hang
you.
out
That's
again.
fantastic.
We're going to do
Okay.
a review of the Adopt Me series.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
a review of the Skivvy toilet film. One of these.
yeah. We'll see you in the cinema.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Later. Yo, how about that chat with our friends?
I thought we did really well for a fast crossover. It was really, I mean, how many? Well, yeah, we were quite a lot on one episode, but I'm so pumped that we were able to do this with them. And I guess for me, the last thing was, are we going to have an Italian brain rot movie? I think we should. I think we should.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I love Italian culture, and I love super weird shit in general. So I'm all about it.
I don't know if we
Um,
could say that Italian brain rot are really representative of Italian culture, but
no, I know, but just like the language and I don't know. There's Italian elements, right? Like cappuccino. There's like little tiny elements in there, but it's not a fair representation of the culture. I agree with you. on that one. But now let's jump into our next section of hit, miss, and bet.
Let's go. What do you have?
This week, my hit is the San Diego Comic-Con. It's so amazing. Have you been?
I've never been. I've always seen the amazing image, but I don't know why it gives me. I'm always scared
Anxiety?
because I'm not one to like dress up or anything like that. So I just feel like I'm not gonna blend in. So I'm
No, you
kind
would
of
fit
someone that
right in.
yeah.
You do not have to dress up. And fun fact,
Okay.
I've never dressed up for the Comic-Con. I've been going since I was 11. I've been in
Have
my
you?
whole life. And now I'm so excited because I get to share that with my family and my kids. Now they
Oh,
get
that's
to
so nice.
experience it. It's awesome. And it's so big. I think there was an estimate of like 320,000 people, came into San Diego to celebrate. A lot of them went to the conference. A lot of them went to other, side events, but it takes over the whole city. And
That's so
yeah,
cool.
it's awesome. So that's my win. My miss is this whole controversy around the Cannes Lion event recently about how there was authenticity issues, about how a lot of agencies were leveraging AI and using sneaky tactics to win awards. And
Oh,
so, yeah, this is a
I didn't see
fail.
that.
These agencies are super whack for not trying to win fair and square. So on the AI side, both Whirlpool and New Balance created the agencies that created campaigns for those brands. In their case studies, they used AI to fake all this information and inflate the numbers and kind
what?
of like manipulate the data. And so they've the voters and the jury, they discovered this and they basically took the awards back. And they basically said, like, you can't leverage this. And this literally was fake information.
Yeah, it's fine.
These
It's
are
not even the fact that they used AI. It's just the fact that they blankly just lied.
yeah, they lied. That's the point. But they used AI to manipulate the data quickly and make it like to almost get away with it, but they did not get away with it. And then like there's another issue that they brought up about how Budweiser, and this wasn't an AI thing. This is just a taste thing. They basically used a ton of really popular songs, but they only used a second of each song to get
Mhm.
around the licensing, so they didn't have to pay rights to anybody. And it got major backlash. It won an award, and then they eventually like took it back because of this.
Mm,
So yeah, so I don't know. I think it's just that's the loss. Is just like it's a bummer that people are trying to be sneaky to win these awards. Just it should be the best work. But props to Can for finding out about this stuff and elevating the bar even higher, because you gotta respect that organization
yeah.
for what they're turning out.
No, I agree. Funny for Budweiser. I mean, it's a bit rich for a really big company to not want to pay artist rights. I think if it came from like a small, I don't know, cheeky up and coming streetwear, I think that could have been fun. But this is just,
It's
borderline.
it's just whack. It's a
Yeah.
so that's the fail. And
And what's your
my
bet?
bet, I'm betting on the fact that by the end of the year, we're gonna see um, some Roblox IP get translated into a movie or a TV show or a web series. And
Ooh,
I think it's
did
just a
you
matter of
have
time.
did you have inside intel for you to make this
No,
bet?
no insider trading on this one. I
Okay.
don't know. I know there's some stuff being worked on. I don't know, have any release dates, and I don't even know how far along it is. I just
Okay.
think that there's so much opportunity out there that someone
I
has to be
agree.
doing this, and it's just a matter of time until it drops.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, we should revisit this end of the year to see if whether or not you are right.
Let's do it.
Okay, that's a wrap for this episode. We want to thank again Joe, Andy, and Emily for coming on the show. And thank you again for tuning in.
And next week, we're excited because we have Claire Nance from Activision Blizzard, and we're going to unpack paid media in mobile video games.
Absolutely, you don't want to miss it. Okay, Edward, please read us out.
And that was Brands in Play. Thank you for joining the podcast where we explore immersive marketing and the people who are leading it. Co-hosted by Alban Payou and Nick Hill, our show today was produced by myself, Edward Reglu, with creative direction by Joey Jerder and Javed Kazmi, and audio engineering by Salman Kiyu, as well as a massive shout out to Ben Caro. Be sure to join us every week for brand new episodes.
The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views, policies, or positions of host employers. The information shared during this podcast is based on personal experience and publicly available information and is intended for informational purposes only. Any references to specific platforms, companies, or partnerships are made in a personal capacity and do not imply endorsement, partnership, or official association with any organization mentioned.